filmed from a secret location deep in Vansar territory. It's Rezic Battle Bunker News with your hosts, Birdie and Rob.
Hello! Welcome to episode 3 of Rezic Battle Bunker News. Despite COVID, COVID from me and some holidays from others.
Oh, everybody.
I know, I couldn't wait to have some quick matches. Boy, did that not work out.
Yeah.
We're finally down to episode 3. All matches for round 3 have been played. So what does that mean, Rob?
It means games to review. Although there is no fully filmed match to go and watch this time.
Yeah, just as I said, I wanted to get the games moving along, and filming a match is a big effort, so it takes time. And I thought if I cut that out, hopefully, we'd be here a lot sooner, but it's just not worked out.
Yeah, would like to point out that this is not our usual Rezic Battle Bunker. It's
I know, it's blue.
Yeah,
we normally have a nice cream.
Yeah.
And
you'll be ready for an even new look, because the Rezic Battle Bunker is getting a makeover as we speak.
Are you putting a mine in there for the children?
Mine for the children to go in. I don't know, maybe a heavy stubber turret. We'll see what the bank balance allows.
Keep them enforced.
Yeah, just bigger and better, hopefully.
Well, yeah. Well, I couldn't wait for that to be built, so we're here in the SandTimer Studio.
Also known as Darren.
So over to the where we were standing in terms of the map of the campaign and what it looks like. It was pretty even, with Darren leading on 4 territories, me, Martin, and Nick all on 3, and only 2 for Rob. But it was all to play for, still pretty even.
You know what time it is, Steve? It's time for you to get out your big white tool.
Yeah. Sneak attack. What was the objective? Darren just had to pounce you?
There was my gang relic,
in
the middle that he had to defile.
Yeah.
And my objective was to have it not defiled.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, as you say, so the blue circles represent me, there you go.
Yeah.
And the bulk of my force, in fact all of my forces pretty much, were just gathered around this central section. A couple of them were flitting around at other doors, but for the most part they were there. And yeah, as a sneak attack is, I was very, very limited in what I could do. Even I think a couple of times you had control of my guys to move them facing walls and generally being out of the way.
Yeah. What I remember was the big play. Darren wanted his leader and all the good guys with the very violent names to lead the charge and come in, but they sort of fluffed it. I remember seeing them down on the floor.
So essentially,
stuck here.
This was supposed to be an absolute Darren walkover, and spoiler alert, it still was, but it was supposed to be even more of a walkover.
Yeah.
Like you say, Darren had marched his top guys straight in, and
I didn't fluff it. I didn't fluff it, right? What happened was Rob...
So we're getting to that bit.
Yeah.
We get to that bit. Darren had an absolute perfect thing, was just to take out most of everybody, but you just, those initial rolls...
Couldn't get far enough
just
with the charge.
Couldn't get far enough with the charges, which just allowed... And I had a parrot cult which allowed me to shut the doors. So it allowed me just to shut all the doors behind him and kept Darren's mightiest guys trapped in there with me. And I was able to raise the alarm pretty quickly, and was able to... my spider was able to web one of your champions, I think. Or was it your leader?
You webbed all 3 champions, and my leader managed to dodge out of the way.
And because of the webbing, it allowed me to negate some of the either some of the saves or some of the protection that Darren had on his guys to stop him being wounded. And in fact, it caused Darren's leader to break. Coming into this was, just, lick your wounds after and hope you don't get absolutely decimated. So to be in this position at that moment was...
You were holding out. You had given yourself
incredible. I gave myself a chance, and
But then the initiates come, and they manage to finally get through that door. And the initiates have some ability. Not only so Darren's gang, very close combat. The only chance of shooting is his Jews, which are called initiates. And they have some guns, and they're just able to overwhelm you in the end. They're able to get into some charges, fire at you, and it was just, you didn't just have enough.
Yeah, just didn't have enough numbers in the end, but to get to that stage was still...
Give them a good fight.
Still pretty good, and I managed to... I decided to bottle and go, and that was, just to not have as many people dead as I potentially could have done.
So over to game 12, which was a bar brawl. you seem really
ready for it.
This was Martin's Goliaths, which are incredibly close combat against Nick's Shooty gang. Well, he's all round, all looks all round there.
Yeah.
But it was a bar brawl. This is the bar. This is the bar.
And this is the number 6.
And so they were sort of spread out. I can't remember exactly how the layout was, but what I remember was Martin was really keen to get as close to Nick as possible because I think Nick just wanted to survive. This is for him where he was very nervous about.
Martin's just a killer in close combat.
Yeah, of course. But there's this thing you can do in a bar brawl where you can take a drink and it increases your toughness.
As if Martin needs more toughness.
Well, Nick was taking it. So Nick was getting more toughness, but it reduces your weapon skill and ballistic skill.
Right.
So he was struggling to hit people from being so drunk, but also really tough and difficult to take out. So Martin was drinking less and Nick was drinking more, but it was a case of who can roll more 6s.
Right. Okay.
and there was a slight edge to it, and for Martin's way, and he was wrong pen. He was able to sort of like engage Nick and sort of like isolate him out and take everyone out, but his leader held on. And his leader was like the only person sort of able to really hold on and influence everyone around him with like sort of a bubble of nerve tests. There we go. So, yeah, Nick's leader was able to get in a bubble of a few other of his guys and help with nerve tests so that, they didn't break or anything. And he was still in the game. And he was able to, I think, maybe take one or two Martin's weaker members out. But in the end, I think he just he sort of hung out for as long as he could. And just sort of decided it was enough
now.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to sort of analyse this too much because it's just.
It's difficult when you don't have either of the players in proximity to comment on it. But.
Yeah, and it's more one of those fun matches that's very thematic and
kind of skirmishy almost.
Yeah, good choice on Martin to sort of take Nick to something that he can't do well. I can't really talk about this too much, and
that's pretty much. Exactly
close combat's not your place to really talk, is it?
No, well, unless there's webs involved.
Me too.
Yeah.
My gang like web guns. They have a lot of web guns, and they're really annoying.
We just web each other. No one dies, and everyone just lies in a pile of web.
Web each other in the face.
I didn't say it.
Game 13, one will I have a lot to talk about because I was challenging Martin.
I'll hold the board.
Oh, thank you very much, Rob. So I was super confident because I was like, I've got a plan, right? Martin, close combat gang, right? He's going to go for objectives. It's really tough.
What was it?
So the game was a mining expedition. I haven't put that down, but yeah, it had 4 mining zones, and I made these like really cool flat pieces of terrain. It was sort of a little bit like a no man's land, and you have to go into it, and then you have to roll some dice sitting there. Trying to mine.
Right.
Well, I said, great. He's going to, and he set up as like a very like frontal line along this way, sort of like trying to get into these mining zones as quick as possible. And I set up to sort of like get up in a lot of shooting positions, but also try and get into these mining zones as well. My hope was that he'll go in, he'll mine, and I will open fire like crazy, and I'll gun him down in the mining zones. And then I'll be able to take them. What I didn't realise is in all the rules for this, there is no rules on winning for bottling.
Right.
They're just not there. So this can end in a draw, which it did.
Oh.
Whoever mined, after the last zone is mined out, whoever has the most mined zones out of 4 wins.
You got a 3 zone to win.
Yeah, so Martin took 2.
So you were going to draw.
I took 1, and I left 1 purposely open. And he only had his leader left, so there was like a lot of fighting, a lot of shooting. I did a cool thing with Squid where he finally came in and he went and wrecked havoc. And Mark was like, "Oh fuck that!"
We just had subtitles, squid noise.
And he was going in, he was being amazing. And then Martin's leader was like, he knew he had won the draw, so he was pushing for the draw and just waiting for like maybe to move to bottle out or something. So he hid his guys behind here. And he was sort of like just waiting there, just like pass turn.
Right.
You go, just sit here, I'm going to sit here.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I moved my guys round. I could control the map, and I started sniping in, and I got him down to just his leader.
Right.
And then he was just like, screw it, I'm going to charge my leader into that last mining zone and see if I can get the 3 mine sites. Well, I thought I'd better take a draw rather than a loss. So I mined out the last one just as he was in charging range, and that was it. And it was sort of like really disappointing, but I suppose it's useful to know in the future.
Sure.
If I play a game where I don't think I can win, but I can take them to a draw, playing Mining Expedition because it's got that rules in it.
Did you know that there before you chose the scenario?
No.
You didn't know that there was a non-bottle victory condition?
No, I thought they'd automatically
Well,
won.
it would be, wouldn't you?
We're so used to that being in there. That's all we've all had complaints where it's like, well, these missions, there's no way to like. They always, you don't have to go for the objectives because you can just always go for the bottle victory.
Sure.
And that's what I was sort of hoping for. Lure him in for the objectives. Don't worry about them because if I just get him off the board, I win.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Didn't matter. Well, it didn't matter.
Well, that happens with other ones, isn't it? Like we say, carrying off loot and stuff like that. An objective would be carry off the majority of the loot.
Yeah.
But if you annihilate your enemy, you carry off the loot by default, kind of thing.
Well, it depends. It depends on the line. Like, so you have to check the writing of the mission. It can be the case of, say, if the other gang takes 3 pieces of loot and then his bottles out, but for you winning, you get D3 amount of loot for free.
Right.
But if you roll a 1, they still win because they took the majority. There are ones where it's just like, oh, you get all the remaining ones. But yeah, it is sort of case sensitive. And yeah, I screwed up. I thought I had him. And he was able to get a draw. So it was really annoying. I felt robbed. And I can't wait for a rematch, Martin.
That's fighting talk.
Actually, no, he's like toughness 5 and 6. It's awful.
Ridiculous. It's like trying to kill a wall. I have the pens. I have the power because he was dead.
Well, COVID.
Yeah, COVID.
I was okay.
So then I have the power because Stephen doesn't know what happened, but I wish he did because so this match
wiped it from your memory.
From my memory. So you might be guessing how this goes. So game 14 was my Van Stars against Nick's Orlocks, Archaeo-Hunters for a Prometheum cache. So this was my challenge. This was the territory that I wanted and what I picked for the scenario because I thought it would be good. Me and Nick, the last time that we fought, were pretty even keeled, and I thought it's probably remained that way. It hadn't. So Nick's gang has got severely better since then, and I vastly underestimated him. So the object of the game was to kind of activate this robot here in the middle, like kind of little meeple person, and have him march over to the vault here to open the door, get in there, and take all the treasure. In a nutshell. So vaguely what happened was I kind of sent some of my guys down here, some of them came down this way, and some of them went up on top of this big sort of walkway up here, because why not? Nick did pretty much the same, kind of spread some guys coming up around here. Nick went into the centre here very, very quickly with his fly dude. And yeah, took a lot of my guys out. Pretty quickly, gained access to the robot, had him march down here. I managed to get a few sort of pot shots off and down a couple of guys, take maybe 1 out of action. And I managed to get 1 person into the vault at the end of it. I think Nick got 3 in the vault. I can't really remember. But yeah, ultimately it was me thinking this is going to be a pretty good fight against Nick and I might come away with a victory. Yes, I really wanted to win this territory. But yeah, Nick's gang was far too powerful for me, and I lost the fight.
Oh, so that's a shame, Rob. Hopefully,
It's a shame.
Your next match versus Nick, you can get some revenge.
I'm looking forward to the next campaign.
Game 15, the unbiased review.
I give the pens back to Steve now.
Yes, I have a lot to say. A lot to say on this one. Well, one was unlucky. So this escape the pit. I thought there was an elevator at the bottom of the match. It's actually an elevator on the top. You have to climb up to the top and get the elevator out of there. And the more you get out, the more you win. What happened was it's random crews. We rolled a mount.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled 5. Nick rolled 6.
All right.
Fair enough. That's only what.
D3 times
No,
2
it was D3. Or yeah, maybe rolled 7. It's like 7 or something. I had fewer.
Right.
Yes. And then I rolled for my gang, and I had all the weaker members of my gang, every one of them. Like, not even like, a champion and a few Jews. It was gang, Jew.
Right.
Apart from my squid guy, because he's down the bottom as a brute. Okay. Just the way the gang list is composed, it's because he's an extra.
You randomise it in like physical order down.
Yeah, so I had my gang sheet, rolled a dice, and I rolled all the high numbers every time. So it was just whoever was at the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
And that happened to be my weaker members. So I was bricking myself because I was just like, what do I do? Here's the thing. Because my gang list was so much smaller than Nick's, I got a load of cards. So it was all about the cards for this game for me. Nick also played a card. He only had 2, and he gave himself, you know what?
3 Jews.
Yeah, 3 Jews. He thought, well, I'm already 2 ahead. Might anything else give me...
Haven't we vetoed that?
I don't know. Maybe there's a way in the future to veto cards, because I'm getting really sick. Well, there's a couple of... I have a lot to say about cards in this one. Right.
Well, that's kind of because I want to take that card, and if I get that card, I'll always want to take it.
Yeah.
Because, numbers are good.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it can be a little bit kind of dull, I suppose.
So, yeah, this was kind of like initially hanging there. Nick had a lot of shooting, he had a lot of people, like his heavy bolter came in to the high ground, had a lot of people go up a tower here, basically to, like, get as quick as he could into here. The flank where he was struggling a bit was coming to try and dominate here. By the way, the walls close in this match. Every round, they'll close in, and they came in from the bottom and the side. Only on my sort of side did they ever come in. And I sort of just, hold out. One of the cards I played turned one of Nick's characters insane. And I'd not really seen the insanity rule, so
a psycho rule?
No, it's just like, one of the Dalak powers is that you can choose a character, they have to maybe make a willpower test.
Oh, they go crazy.
And they go crazy.
Wow.
And I chose someone with a low willpower, and it was his grenade launcher. So his grenade launcher, he was on the top looking at everything, I turned insane. Now, insanity means if he has to roll a dice every turn. 1 to 2, he just breaks, and he just sits there panicking.
Right.
3 to 4, the enemy player takes control, me. 5 to 6, he's okay, and then he has to roll willpower again or something. And he becomes uncrazed. Yeah. He never became uncrazed. I shot at everyone I could with him. I charged someone with him and took him out. He was my MVP. He was behind enemies in Nick's lines. Whenever he got a chance to control him, he just sat him down and hid him somewhere. But then I would just pop him out and cause trouble again.
Sure.
So he gave me a massive in. And he was only managed to get 1 or 2 people up here. I had some people able to get in there and cause some trouble, and I got a bit lucky. It's like 1 or 2 good shots. On average, I'm good at shooting. And then I had my squid guy just go in and dominate here. I had a few cards where it's like he can pounce, where it's like he gets 4 inches of extra movement
for a charge, or just for general.
Just in general. So it's like anyone can just go teleport 4 inches. And it's really great for on the charge. So I can just go,
Sure.
It seem like I'm too far away, teleport 4 inches, charge, and then his weapons are versatile, so they have a few inch ranges on it, so we can just grab someone. And I was doing that. I was charging someone, teleport, charge someone else, and grab them, and I was getting it. And it got to the point where Nick had to roll for bottling, and he bottled. And so next turn, I think we did it at the same time, we both bottled at the same time. And I only had 1 or 2 people go, and he had most of his gang go.
Right.
Just rolled cool, and he mostly failed in the cool checks. And he was left with 1 or 2 people left on the board. And it was looking like I could swing this. I had also another one of my Dalak cards is when I had a person go out of action. It was like, oh, actually,
he's all right.
There's someone else. He was pretending to be. There was my champion was pretending to be like a decoy Juve. Turns up and it's a champion.
Wow.
And he had these guys charge in, and he was shotgunning them back and taking them out and stuff.
What card?
Yeah, I know. It's a really great card.
Especially if you roll duff on your gang roster.
Yeah, it got me back into the game. And then he had his not his leader, but he's like a shotgun guy. He's almost like a second in command.
Leader, yeah.
I charged my squid guy into him, and he had this card where he has a 2+ invulnerable save. He gets rid of it if he rolls a 1.
Right.
I charged my squid into him. He does double the attacks for charging. So he does something like 9 attacks. Everyone hit, with some of them being not rending, but shock. Right. So if they rolled for 6 for a hit, they automatically wound. I think I did something like 9. I think I've wounded with everyone. So 9 hits, 9 wounds. He 2+'d the whole lot. And took the squid out of action.
Wow.
And then luckily, I think by that time, everyone else bottled out, and it was he just got the win. He was going to win anyway, but it was just like,
it was
a
more emphatic win, yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough game. It was sort of like, I wish if it was different, I could have given more of a challenge, and then maybe could have won it and had a chance. It just felt so close.
He's tougher than it's tougher than his paper looks. Nick.
Yeah, I think I've had issues with this guy before where he has played that card. So and like given me a lot of trouble. So I'm vetoing that card next time.
So let's have a look how that has changed the landscape. Bearing in mind that the draw result between Birdie and Martin means that Territory 21, the Generatorium, is that right?
That's correct.
Isn't claimed and is still up for grabs.
So we've got the map updated here. It's finally starting to fill up. We're getting through games now. And it's mostly orange, red and yellow. I'd like to see more purple and blue, Rob.
Yeah, well, we better win some games. Not drawing them or losing them.
Yeah, so unfortunately the Vorgesetzer, that's why I've got to remember the G. The Vorgesetzer are on 2. My Ghost Syndicate on 3. 2. I know that draw really stings now. With Martin's Goliath, the Wrecking Crew on 4. It's the race between Darren's Corpse Grinders and Nick's Orlocks on 5. There's still plenty of room for change there. There's something like 8 territories. Yeah, 8 territories still up for grabs. And that ancient water purifier in the centre there is worth 3 on its own. So,
probably a good idea if me and you find out.
I agree. Let's get in there before someone else does.
Stop the others running away with it. Generates a load of money post-game.
I think it's D3 times 20, so like 2 old druids. So I'm going to go through the criteria of how this campaign is going to be won. There's 5 criteria. And we're going to start with, at the moment, the least important one because it's a round-robin system, battles.
So, interestingly, the Ironblood Kings, that's Nick's Orlocks, have played the most so far. Perhaps down to that era where the gang played them twice, or maybe them just being a popular target. It should mean that they're going to play less games, so fewer games over the next few rounds. And this might help with the other gangs catching them up.
Yeah, the idea with the occupation phase, the first part of this game where people were taking territory, was that it would be a round-robin system. Everyone plays, everyone wants, so therefore it should be fair after a number of games that everyone should have played everything, and therefore the number of battles should be the same. Now, 2 things. One, maybe that error with Nick means that he will always have a little bit more. I don't know. But from round 4, there's not going to be enough games to mean that everyone plays everyone again in the occupation phase. From after round 4, everyone you choose now is going to count towards battles at the end, like in the takeover phase, where everyone gets a number of attacks, and you're free to attack as many times you want. Right. So bear that in mind. The rest of the players watching this,
and viewers too.
That whoever you choose from now on is going to really decide this criteria from now. It's going to get a bit more important.
Right. Okay.
So I think we'll move over to a more straightforward criteria for who's doing well. Who's got the most money plus stuff?
Wealth, yeah.
I'm gonna laugh so hard one day, Rob. That 1 credit you got from the
I did. I sold something that rounded up.
No, you got a little token.
Oh, that's right. Loot crate.
A loot crate, and it gave you 6 credits or something like that.
That'll count one day. That'll really matter.
I like if you pit someone to the post with by that 1 credit. Yeah. It's just like, it was waiting there all that time. But unfortunately, I think if you want to get into that position now...
I'm going to need to, 1,000 credits to be in that position?
Yeah, 1,500 to next 2,500.
Golf is crazy.
That's 1,000
credits.
Yeah. I think we all need to damage the Ironblood Kings more. I tried.
Or donate to me. I'll take charity at this rate.
So yeah, I was trying to injure Nick in the last game, but every injury result I rolled for him was out cold.
That's the good thing about a random chance game. You know, you can't. It's not just all going to go like to clockwork or anything. Otherwise, what's the point of playing it?
The Water Guild that I will introduce at some point have bounties, and maybe Nick's gang will get some bounties on instead.
Nick will be bountied. I really think that we do need to fight that over that water purifier. I need the money.
We need territories and we need money.
Yeah. Maybe we can have some sort of
co-ownership.
Yeah, exactly.
D3 plus 10 each.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, I make up the rules as arbitrary.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I'm your friend.
So, anyways, I think in the future I'll be happy just taking some of those old ruins. They're not as bad as they look. D3 times 10 credits. So, anyways, I think we should stop our moaning about it's not going to get any better, but at least the next one, reputation, you're doing better than me, Rob.
Well, there's not much change from the last round with the Knights closing the gap on the leaders. So who we got at the top? The Wrecking Crew, Reputation 12, Knights Decimation on 11, Iron Blood Kings on 7. Look, I'm down 1 again on 4, and you're only on 2?
Yeah, I've not chosen matches with any reputation, or if I have, or I've played in them, like the last one, not won them to get the reputation. So, you can't go less than 0. So I can't lose my squid. He's a brute, and you can only have so many brutes and hangers on.
Based on rep.
Based on rep, and you can't go less than 0. So 0 means you can have 1. So unless he dies,
no, he'll never die.
Touch wood.
Bruce can't die.
He should be okay.
Does there any change on there?
It's just third place, which is Iron Blood Kings, who were on, I think, 4 last time, or 3. They're on 3. They've gone up to 7. I think Nick is now securing money. Yeah. He's looking for rep. So that last match we did, the Escape the Pit, that was very reputation rewards there, and I think you didn't lose rep if you lost. Right. So he was hedging his bets there that he's at least going to gain something. Watch out, Nick taking rep.
It's going to be interesting to see how mission preferences are going to change from, say, wealth over to rep in the future as the sources of income become more, less of a concern, really. So.
Anyways, over to the next criteria, which I think is an interesting one, but I don't think has changed too much, which is kills. It's I think there's normally a lot of analysis you can do in this, but
not my favourite bracket either. I don't have a favourite bracket, it seems. But I mean, look at that for the Knights of Decimation, 21 kills. That's the close combatness coming in there, I think. And who's that after that? Nick's Iron Blood Kings on 19.
Yeah, he's catching up there as well. Yeah. There is real battle for first and second.
There sure is.
And then there's the rest of us.
Martin, he went up by 5 this round. That bar brawl must have been brutal.
Well, I think he could change late game, and I think once you get some of your more powerful weapons into the hands of your gang members, you'll be sniping people off, popping heads all over the area.
If I can afford it, that seems to be the thing. I get a little bit forwarding and knockback, a little bit forwarding and knockback. So it just needs to. I need a run of goodness, I think. Now I'm getting a little bit of money. Hopefully that'll.
Yeah.
But, Darren marches ahead. His Corpse Grinder's unstoppable in close combat.
Yeah, our rematch is going to be interesting now that we played the first game where we were both vanilla. Now we've specced up a little bit, and I've gone into close combat a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's some members of my gang who want to charge him, which...
I look forward to you both losing.
So that's the criteria for winning the campaign this round. It's still early days. We're still in the occupation phase, but some clear leaders are emerging. Who are you rooting for?
Me? You have to root for yourself, right?
Normally, this would be the part of the show where we're wrapping everything up. We've talked about matches, we've talked about the leaderboard.
Yep.
But, well, I've got something special to announce for Downtime.
Ooh. Is that the one with you and Darren in the yellow boat?
That's for another day. But for the uninitiated, Rob, what is Downtime?
So for the uninitiated, which includes myself, the campaign is in 3 sections. The occupation phase is the part that we're in now, whereby gangs mostly are concerned with taking territory within the dome. Then there's the takeover phase, which is when gangs can attack each other's territory to see is going to claim the most. And in between those two phases is the downtime phase, where you promote people and captures get released, a few other bits and bobs, you purchase stuff and such.
It's during that time you can play an extra mission. There's no specific rules on this. It says you can do it.
Right.
But what I'm going to do is introduce a special downtime match. It's an invitational match, so all gangs are invited.
So I don't have to participate.
So you don't have to participate. You can just watch from the sidelines and see everyone else kill each other and go, that was probably a good idea.
Great idea.
But that's part of the design, is that
Right.
we're going to power up, and we're going to need people to maybe weaken themselves for going for a bigger prize. But it's open invitational. As I was going to say, I invite all gangs to the Ratskin Rumble.
It sounds too straightforward. There's got to be something else to this.
So I'm going to go over everything and maybe the reasons why I've chosen to do it this way. Firstly, I will point out that no gang can bottle out. There's no bottle out rule.
Right.
There are rules to replace this, but once you go in,
You're there.
you're there. You can't go out. A gang member can only leave by being taken out of action or by being teleported.
Teleported. How do you get out and win the game?
So it sounds like, you get to a teleport and you leave, like escape the pit. No.
Right.
Being teleported is horrendous. You do not want to be teleported. It's controlled by an ancient terminal in the centre of the board. There'll be sort of like a no man's land around it. So you need to get to that terminal and activate it. It needs like a few little rules to like get it going.
Like the automata, or
Sort of. So like the first thing you need...
If it needs intelligence, I'm out.
you need to find the on button, which is probably an intelligence check. So you need to get to that terminal and turn it on. It will be risky because you'll be in a no man's land from taking fire, but the risk will pay off because it kind of acts like a super weapon.
so you aim the teleporter and fire?
Yes, basically. It's kind of once it's online, it has a few functions, but the main one is that it will acquire target locks on the character. The terminal is treated as a weapon that has unlimited range and ignores line of sight. It sees everything within the arena. You could kind of think of the whole arena as a sort of classic teleporting pad.
Right.
No one is safe. So, luckily, characters need target locks to be teleported.
Right.
And so they have a chance to resist the teleporter's pull. But be warned, the more target locks a character has, the greater the pull of the machine, and the more likely you are to being zapped. I think if you get 3, it's automatic, you're gone.
So you say it's horrendous, this thing, then?
So, it has its own unique injury table, which has its own special nasties.
Death, more death, absolute death.
It's not that bad. There are still ways to come away from it.
Is there a good eventuality? Like you're teleported to
if you roll
paradise?
I think it's like if you roll an 11 or a 66, or it's like one of the extreme ends.
Yeah.
It's like you see the Emperor's divine will, and you come away with experience, and like I think there's one way you can come away with psychopower or something like that.
Cool.
But you might prefer to be just taken out of action.
Okay.
So everyone who is in there gets stuck in because, like you said, you're either going out in 2 ways. Out of action or teleported. And teleported, there's some really unique nasties I put in there, some really interesting ones. I'll give it, because I'll put the PDF file out after this video is up. But one of them is that your character is teleported so far away is that they take the whole campaign to come back.
Oh, God.
So they're technically killed, but if you want to start season 2, they come back with experience.
Oh, well, that would be great.
Yeah. So they're just like, they've got teleported miles away, and they're like, they want to come back
months
home.
and months
They
home.
have to trek home, and they'll come back with weapons.
That's cool.
I think, actually, another one, I think, which is fun. Fun. Is that they're not teleported in space, but they're teleported in time.
So they just age incredibly. Or
No, they come back as
a baby.
you kill them, and they come back replaced as a Juve.
Right.
They lose their weapons, but all the equipment you can keep. So you can have some equipment on a Juve that normally a Juve could
Not be able to have.
Yeah, but they've started again.
That's good. Is there anything else you need about setup or anything?
Yes, how gangs deploy and are brought in is unique. So players will pick a roster of 5 characters to enter the arena. Every gang will have their own unique deployment place.
Right.
Say if there's 4, it'll be each corner.
Mm-hmm.
And like top gangs will pick and they'll be in order. If there's a 5th one, middle of the halfway of the table, sort of figure out one of the corners. But everyone will have their own deployment zone. And then every round, 2 will start near the middle. So 2 will start deployed from the top 2 gangs, so they'll get instantly in.
Mm-hmm.
But then every round, 1 character will come in randomised.
Is that randomised for the gang or for the whole gang members?
Everyone.
Right. Also, a random person from anybody's gang will just pop somewhere.
Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
So
buzz.
Rumble.
And it's the Rumble, there we go. I knew you'd get the reference. So yeah, you could be sitting there waiting for your gang to turn up. Now the reason I've done this is because obviously with loads of people and 5 people each, there could be a maximum potential of 25 characters on the board, and that could take a long time for us to play.
That's me, yeah.
So
That's just my gang numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
So by limiting it at the beginning, hopefully those first few turns where there's not many on the board, it will go rather quickly, and then it will build up. And like I said, you want to get stuck in because you want to get to that terminal, and there's no way of just hiding and running away. So you need to get stuck in. But you've got to beware if you take a Juve out of your 5. They could be the first one to turn up and represent your gang and get absolutely stuffed.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be able to eliminate some characters for all 5 potential gangs have all 5 potential gang members on the board.
There might be an alternate way I may do it. I had a chat with Nick about sort of randomisation, and he was talking about, so obviously there's a reference to WWE and the Royal Rumble. The way another wrestling company do it, AEW, is that they have a deck of cards.
Right.
And that, each character is based on it takes a card, and when you pull that card,
that's them.
That's it, but it might be someone else as well. So you might get no one come out, you might get 2 people come out, you might get, so it's
I see.
Incredibly random.
Yeah.
Might have a think about that. I just like one at a time at the moment.
At least random is fair, though. If it's totally random.
Yeah, that's true. That might just be a little bit too much. But I think with 5, if we had 5 shooty gangs all just standing in the corner shooting at each other, that match could take a long time. But I think with Darren, with Martin, and me having some close combat, I think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. So
I'll likely sit that one out. I imagine it's probably going to be a big all-day event, but I definitely look forward to that. Any unique prizes on there?
Yeah, well, here we go. So what's the law? Why get involved in this? Because, well, there are some completely unique prizes. I'm not going to talk about what everyone gets for just participating. I'm not going to talk about credits or XP or experience, reputation for joining this. There are rewards for that. But let's just talk about the really sweet stuff. So, first, they'll get to ban 1 tactics card from every player, not including themselves.
There's the veto thing you were talking about.
So exactly. That 2+ invulnerable save? Gone. Your extra Jews? Gone.
I do love them Jews.
Darren's one where it's like, I get to do the extra move and then move in charge or whatever. Gone. I'm building a list of ones I really hate.
You find new ones you hate though, because they're all good.
I'm true, but what I hope from this is that it will make people have to look at their potential cards and choose something else.
New tactics based.
New tactics based on that. If they've lent on one too heavily, then it's like, well, there you go, you've got to think outside the box now. Second, there'll be a special Season 2 resource called Secrets. Season 2 will be a little bit more narrative based.
Right.
And the obtaining of secrets will be important in Season 2. Okay. What secrets are, I can't talk too much about it now. It's far too early.
So even if I ask really nicely, you won't tell me what the secret is.
I can't tell you what a secret is, but it is a resource.
Right.
And whoever wins this match will get ahead of that. They'll get 1 secret.
Right.
It'll be special for them. Third, 2 favours from the Water Guild. I mentioned them earlier.
Yeah.
Well, Water Guild can put bounties on people's heads, or they can be mercenaries to help other gangs fight. Or for 1 favour, you can
recruit someone.
No, you can roll money.
Right.
So they can
donate you funds. Basically.
Yeah, basically you can get a lot of money from the Water Guild.
Is this the gang that you were potentially having Mr. Martin Sanderson to run?
Yeah, so just in case the Water Guild are sort of like a backup. A ringer. You would call them a ringer. I'd call them like a ringer team. If someone can't participate, they can come in and fight for them, but they would be their own unique gang list.
Right.
So it wouldn't be like, oh, I control your gang. Oh, sorry, Rob, I had your champion, your leader, die because I threw them into close combat with Darren. Oh, they're just and then roll back. It's like no, they'd be separate. If they fight for you, they take their own injuries and they take their own losses. But the way they earn money is separate because they don't have territory. So one of their favours is like you can use their ability to earn money. So, but like I said, there's also bounties that they're going to do, and they will come in later. But getting 2 favours from the warriors useful, so it's useful for the future, but not a biggie. The next one is a little bit more useful. It's called an isotopic fuel drop. Basically, you get to turn any territory you want in the match into a settlement.
Wow.
Well, so any of those really bad...
the city gun.
The city gun. In the old Necromunda, there was an isotropic fuel rod.
I remember that.
Where you could set up a new territory to be like a settlement. Well, this is more like an isotropic fuel gun.
Right.
Where you can force any territory to change into a settlement. It might be tempted to take an old ruins and make that into a settlement, but I would say it might be some of those broken territories people don't like.
Or 3D printing a city or something.
Drop means that here's a tent.
That's called IKEA settlement.
Now city. The reason why I've done this is because I've had a couple of people ask me to nerf certain territories. So they go, I don't like this. This is too strong. We've looked on forums and people don't like this settlement. This territory XYZ because of reasons. And it's just like, okay, well, I'll give you a chance to get rid of it if you want. If you win this...
If there's something that you specifically don't like.
Then I know, like, for example, I think the drinking hole's got something horrible where it's like, whoever played it. Well, no, if Delacs own it, and it's like a special Delac rule, if Delac owns the drinking hole, I can always make sure someone in a match against me doesn't turn up because they haven't paid the drinking debts.
Right.
It's just like, I don't own that.
Did you get to choose that? If you said, it's always going to be your
Well, people have asked me, if you take that, if you win that territory, don't use that rule.
Right, okay.
Because it's not fun. And I'm just like, if there's certain broken territories you don't want, here's a chance. Please don't get rid of an old ruins. An old ruins is kind of boring neutral one that I'd rather you'd keep.
Right.
Because it's harmless.
Yeah.
Get rid of something you don't think is fun.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's why I've done that one. And then lastly, a custom weapon.
Ooh.
I know. You can input into the website we use to make custom stuff. And I've got a custom weapon all ready to go in there.
What is it?
And it's only one instance of it, so you can't buy it. So if you win this, you just get one of this gun.
1 in a million.
It's just one. It's just
just one.
It's just one. It's just happened chanced here, and it's a modified lasgun.
I like that. I've got lots of them.
No, you might be a little bit lazzed out because this is a modified lasgun of the 710 Catachan Regiment. Now, who are the Catachan? They are a certain Imperial Guard regiment from the world of Catachan. It's a jungle death world where a lot of horrible big monsters live, or creatures and stuff. And I think the trees are almost living and move around and stuff like that. It's like a perpetual jungle. That gun is from my. So I have an Imperial Guard Catachan regiment, and there's a 710 Catachan. So it's like, it's harkening back to my 40k days. So you've got a special Catachan gun. And why is it a special one? Well, I'm taking the traditional lasgun profile of a 24-inch range weapon. The lasguns these days have 18-inch short. Well, this one has a 12-inch range short. And I go, that's not as good. Well. The thing is, it has +2 to short rather than +1.
Right.
It has all the other standard stuff of 3, strength 3, damage 1, but it has an AP -1, so it does a little bit
more damage.
A little bit more armor penetration. It's a little bit more powerful, better maintained weapon. It has its 2+ ammo save and plentiful, which means it's still going to do everything a lasgun does. Where it stands out is in its traits, because as the image showed you there, it is attached with a bayonet.
Right.
Or a Catachan knife as a bayonet. So what it has... It has plentiful. The next trait it has is melee, which is you can use this normal gun as a close combat weapon. But I think because it has the melee rule, you can use it with another close combat weapon. Now, if anyone's like, a two-handed weapon in one, if you look at some of the Catachan models, they're slinging it with one arm and holding a knife. So this is fairly appropriate that they could be like, dual wielding one of these sort of thing. So yeah, you can take the close combat weapon and get that +1 attack from having a level 1. It then has parry and backstab.
Okay.
So I imagine with the backstab, you can charge and bayonet someone with it, and then parry because it's a big weapon, use it to block.
Right.
So it just makes it a little bit more close combat standard weapon.
Boosted lasgun.
The design I thought of it it's a better lasgun, a little bit more boosted, and it's more designed for say
warfare.
Not for say a ganger who's good at sniping because you probably give them a long rifle, long las, plasma gun, all that sort of shiz. And, the close combat character, you'd already give them 2 weapons. It might be for like a specialist or a close combat member who's got some good shooting and who wants to close in on their prey. So they want to get in with that 12 inches for the +2. Mm-hmm. And then pin them with the lasgun. And then close in with the lasgun, charge them, backstab, and all that sort of stuff. So it's not designed to be OP, it's just designed to be special.
I do like that +2 to short, but I am a little bit lasgunned out at the minute. You said there was money for the winner?
Well, I wasn't going to talk about it yet. 500 creds to whoever wins.
I don't think it's enough to wet my whistle, You get 1,500 and now we're talking.
Well, yeah, since you have to close 1,000 down on the winner.
Precisely, yeah. But still, more my language.
There are other stuff. I think there is like rolls and stuff for credits and stuff, or things you do in there. So 500 credits is just the bare minimum for the winner.
Oh, okay.
But you do not want to come third.
Okay. I see.
Hint.
Face teleport.
So yeah, it's been a longer Rezic Battle Bunker news than usual.
But more fun.
I'm glad you say that, Rob.
It was. It was worth it.
We'll see you at episode 30.
I'm sure you're going to enjoy editing this, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I like about editing, when it's quick. Anyways, wish to see you again soon. I hope to have a full battle for the round 4 coming up.
Yeah, the next one.
Yep, so it's
round robin, round 4.
Yeah, so it might be a little while to do the next video because obviously we've got to do that, and that takes a long time, and then there'll be round 5. But we're going now.
Nearly into the end of the first bit.
The wind is in the sails, and we're getting towards the downtime. And so we're
we had a good summer. A load of games during the summer. All seemed to go bang, 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 and then they were done. And here we are again.
So anyways, with that, Rob,
guess we'll see you again soon on Rezic Battle Bunker News.